From the Shark Tank stage to the $1.95 billion PepsiCo deal, Allison Ellsworth changed how we think about soda with Poppi, the prebiotic soda that conquered TikTok and redefined how Gen Z drinks. Through collabs with Post Malone, Kylie Jenner, Hailey Bieber, J.Lo, and New York Fashion Week collabs, Poppi is more than just a blockbuster beverage brand. It's a lifestyle empire that turned functional drinks into cultural currency. Allison, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my God, that was an iconic intro. Thank you for having me.
Sorry for my pause, guys. But I had to tee it all up. So take us back to the beginning. You scaled Poppi from a kitchen experiment all the way into a major player disrupting the entire beverage industry. I think you sell more on Amazon than like Pepsi and Coke, if I'm correct. And it's one of the fastest journeys in beverage history. The brand we see on shelves today, though, came a long way from Mother Beverage days. So take us back to the beginning.
Yeah, so started it in my kitchen, and what was really fun is I created this for personal use, right? I had some health problems, there was nothing on the market, and I created it like a lot of great entrepreneurs. If there's not something, you just kind of want to fix it. And so I think there was a lot of passion that went into building Poppi, but that was the early days. But with Poppi, we were always on a mission to revolutionize soda for the next generation. And that sounds really lofty and really big. And I remember the grocery stores back in the day when we were like, we're a soda, and they'd be like, no, you're not. Mm-hmm. But we always just stayed true to our mission within soda. And it finally, like, everyone started to get on board. And they were like, okay, changing how the retail landscape looked and really went from better for you to soda. And to your point, we are the #1 soda on Amazon. We've been that for almost 3 years.
Ooh,
so
that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and it's just pretty cool. It just seeing like this shift in the way consumers are acting and wanting these like better for you products, while it's still very approachable.
And so take me through that a little bit, because with soda, you think of like a very specific taste, right? But you started with apple cider vinegar. You were mixing fruit juices and sparkling water and all of these concoctions. Like, what was the transition from what it was first to soda?
Yeah, so it was kind of just a product that was an apple cider vinegar drink, which is like so gross if you kind of think about it. Like, what was I thinking? Peddling vinegar. But the thing is, we had a product. So we were like, this is a fantastic liquid. We went on Shark Tank, we got a deal, but we realized we didn't have a brand. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know the difference between those two things. And its brand is leading with the heart versus the head, right? And so we leaned in emotionally. So it was like this apple cider vinegar drink versus here's Poppi, this better for you soda that's creator driven, it's community driven, and oh, by the way, it's good for you and has apple cider vinegar, which is like a better path for us to explode, honestly.
Yeah, so you're known for many things, but I love this story how like overnight you were developing the product for like 2 years, right, from the rebrand, and overnight you looked and you had done a TikTok video, and nobody really kind of was like paying too much attention to TikTok as like the preferred way to reach your customer base. And what is it? You sold like $100,000 overnight?
Yeah, I mean, we were just one of the first brands to really lean in to just putting ourselves out there. I think nowadays the word authentic and community, it's almost like a drinking game. Every time someone says it, you're like, take a shot. But we were like one of the first brands to do it. So I remember people being like, just kids are dancing on there, don't get on there. But for me, it was a free place to get on and talk to our community. And keep in mind, Poppi launched March 20th, the first week of COVID. March 2020, the first week of COVID. And so we had to just think really differently through a marketing lens from day one. So we had to like throw the playbook out, and TikTok was just such a beautiful piece that, I mean, we all remember.
Like, you had a different playbook, right? You had paid like $100,000, maxed out your credit cards to get a booth at this expo, right? And so then COVID hit, and you're like, okay, plans out the window, plans changed.
Because you couldn't like do anything in real life. And so we had an update on Shark Tank air the second week of April, which was lockdown. So we had basically a national commercial. We went viral on TikTok, did $100,000 while we were sleeping on Amazon, and the grocery store shelves got cleared. And then we just hit Amazon's hot new product list right out the gate, because because we were leaning into all digital first things. Like, we couldn't do real in life events. You couldn't go out and do demos in grocery stores. And the beauty is, once the world opened up, we continued to stay digital first while then implementing the in real life stuff. And I really think a lot of brands need to flip it, do it that way.
That's such smart advice. And so for the founders in the room, there's so many under 30 listers here and people running hugely successful brands. Like, is that the lesson, to think like a creator first, and what is the cost if you don't?
I think it goes back to thinking as a brand first. So like, one of the most iconic brands I feel like is like Nike, right? They know they're just do it. They're not changing their tagline. They are aspirational, right? Versus a tennis shoe, right? And so I think for us, it was staying digital first. We always really leaned into creators. It's funny, you said all of those celebrities at the beginning, but we actually never paid, Kylie Jenner, she just posted us for free. We never paid Hailey Bieber. She just posted us for free because we were just part of the cultural conversations. We gave and we gifted a lot of product, and they just naturally showed up because Poppi was building a brand, a lasting brand. And so we were really more of a creator first brand. And so much so, in our last Super Bowl, we had creators in our Super Bowl versus celebrities, right? And so I think for us, we just did things really differently. Now it's a little bit of the norm, but you'd be still so surprised how hard it is for people to think community, creative, and creator first. It's actually really hard.
So it actually probably ended up saving you a lot of money on a traditional marketing budget or spend, right? Because like, you put in the work to figure out what your brand was, how to cater to that audience in real time, and then you kind of like stuck to your guns.
Actually, I think we spent more money.
Oh, you spent more money.
So brand building can be a little bit more expensive because you're paying for stuff that you don't know necessarily in that KPI if you're going to get a total ROI on it, right? So we just believed in our gut, and believing is long-term brand building. So we would invest and we'd have fun. We'd be like, we have a Black Ops budget, and we'd be like, what that mean is a cultural moment that might happen. So something like really iconic. I don't know if anyone's on our socials right now, but we were working with Amaya Papaya with Love Island. We did a meme. It got picked up. It went crazy viral. And then we slid into her DMs and we were like, we want to do something with you, right? That wasn't built into the marketing plan this year, right? That was a cultural moment that we capitalized. So we actually keep funds aside to be able to capitalize on cultural moments. And it's really hard to get CEOs and CFOs on board at companies, but ours at Poppi believe in that stuff. And so they're like, oh, heck yeah, let's lean in.
So we talked about a little bit of money and funding now. So I have to ask, you landed on Shark Tank. We're taking a step back. You asked for $400,000. You landed a deal with the brand father, Rohan Oza. So tell me about how that shift happened when you're a founder, and then all of a sudden you're integrating with a new partner, and what that really did to change Mother Beverage and bring it forward to Poppi.
I think some of the best things in life, if you're an entrepreneur, is to find mentors and people that have done stuff before. And maybe if you don't go on Shark Tank and you don't get a deal, but just sliding into people's DMs, going on LinkedIn, asking questions, going to networking events. It's crazy what you can learn. There's a lot of people who have done stuff probably in what you're wanting to do before and ask for help. And I think that we just got lucky in getting a deal with Rohan because he had beverage experience. But I think the beauty of it was great at the beginning, but then I feel like we transcended that because of the explosive growth in Poppi, and it really was the team. So it was like the culture I feel like we built at Poppi. It was pretty young, heavy female. I think we were at 1.65% female base, even all the way up to senior leadership. So it's almost like we were the consumer.
You have 200 employees now, right?
We're at 240.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So grew from you and your husband all the way to 240.
Yeah, it's crazy in 5 years. It's one of the fastest growing beverages in the history of beverage. It's wild.
Yeah, on so many metrics. So including revenue, like you said, you had triple digit growth year over year since inception in 2020. And it's such a crowded space, right? So it's the differentiating and key factors. What decisions across key verticals did you attribute to the success of the brand? We talked about, your social strategy as being one major key.
Yeah, but I also think, sure, I've said 100 times up here, leaning into the brand, but I also think that we built what we always call is the platform at Poppi. So we had a great operational team, great platform. So if you can't produce your product growing triple-digit growth year over year. If you can't sustain it with like people, and then if you don't have like basically, if you're having recalls and all that stuff. So product, people, and brand are always really big things that I think a lot of people don't talk about. We brought in a great senior leadership team pretty early on. And as an entrepreneur, sometimes it's hard to ask for help, or in general to ask for help, but we knew we had something special. So for us, I think, you know, we sold to Pepsi, and I was talking to Ram, the CEO, literally 2 days ago, and he goes, the reason we were so excited about Poppi is because you guys were culturally relevant, but you guys had a team that knew what they were doing, right? And as an entrepreneur, I'm not the CEO, nor do I ever want to be the CEO, and I knew that really early on. So we brought someone in that's a fantastic CEO and had, you know, 20 years of experience. So I think a lot of people see the brand, but there's also a lot of like stake that goes within building a great brand.
So by the time you heard from Pepsi, though, like that's a huge deal. I've been tracking the beverage space in CPG as a business journalist for a long time. So in the scope of that, landing a deal with Pepsi at that scale, it's monumental. But by the time you heard from them, you were already kind of outpacing them, as we said, in sales, right? So what do you think were some of the key differentiators, you know, besides just like the numbers, the branding and everything like that, that stood out, or in why Pepsi really resonated for you as the right place for Poppi's evolution?
Yeah, so our goal was always to revolutionize soda for the next generation. And in order to do that, you have to be able to get it into more hands. So some people might be like, well, why did you do this? Why did you guys partner with Pepsi? Because a lot of people also don't realize it's Frito-Lay. They're some of the best operational people in food and bev in the world, right? So when it comes to distribution, when it comes to team, when it comes to resources and data and research, like they're world class. And so for us, it was always, you know, we didn't build the company to sell it, but it was always hopefully to get a deal where it comes to a distribution deal. I want Poppi to be in every household in America. I want it to be global. And this is always like a fun fact that I say, but we're the official soda of the Lakers, and we weren't even able to sell at the Lakers Stadium because there's crazy contracts in place.
I found that so shocking. I heard that last night, and I couldn't believe it. And so it sounds like the infrastructure is also really important. It's the platform, the expertise, the infrastructure, and like, do you believe that they will keep the integrity of your product intact?
Oh, big time. Like, look, nobody pays almost $2 billion for something to just immediately change it, by the way. I know like a lot of people are like saying that, but they wanted our product, they wanted our brand, and so they're really just allowing us to stay Poppi. Like the motto is Poppi, stay Poppi. So
I love that.
It's like all of the employees still work there. It's still the same senior leadership team. I'm still working with them. So I think that they see what's special, and now together, like it's going to be really exciting to see what we do.
So we've said there's so many founders in the room here and that are going to be on this stage. You've been quoted as saying that you embrace chaos. What advice do you have for the young founders in here trying to thrive in unpredictable markets, environments, global tariff situations, all of the above?
Yeah, so I love chaos. I think a lot of entrepreneurs do. I do love organized chaos, though. Look, I was like a dance major in college. I was like a solid C student, but what I was really good at is getting shit done. And so I feel like for me, it's like it can be chaotic, but I have such a good like vision to just get stuff done. So look, that's my superpower. Not everybody can do chaos. You need some orderly. So we've brought people around to surround me to allow us to be a little bit more organized. I used to hate an agenda. I used to hate like an AOP plan and planning. And then once you see how successful it can be to put those two things together where you can be disruptive and organized, that's like a recipe for real success.
So we have less than a minute left, but I want to do a little fun lightning round.
Okay.
So what's one TikTok trend you wish you jumped on faster?
You know, we do like all of the TikTok trends. I would say that honestly, the hardest part now is as a business, they take your music away. And so like there's unfortunately multiple times that I'm having to rap music or sing Sabrina Carpenter because we're a business account and not allowed to use it.
Oh, okay. If you had to launch Poppi today with $0, what would be your first move?
Getting on TikTok and talking about my brand because it costs nothing but your time.
Okay, and then last one. Name one competitor you secretly really respect and why.
You know, I always saw myself as I want to be the #1 soda, not the #1 better for you soda. So I didn't pay attention to a lot of my competitors in the functional space. So it was always Coke and Pepsi. And they're some of the longest lasting soda brands, traditional soda. I mean, like Coke invented Santa, and that's like Pepsi's done like such icon. I remember Britney Spears and like the marketing engine behind it. So for me, it was definitely traditional soda.
So Allison, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.